Welcome to Tactical Reviews for a look at the latest from TRC Knives, the M1 SL. Let's take a look inside the box and see what we've got. So, a nice metallic sticker, a card with all the details of this exact knife, and a patch, and then onto the knife itself. So the M1 SL, once we see the blade shape, you'll be possibly familiar with the way it looks, as this is an additional, slightly different version of a well-established knife from the TRC range, the Mille Cuori. And what's been done here is a change to produce a lighter weight version, so it doesn't have the full metal end cap, and there is some internal milling to reduce weight within the handle that we can't see. What I want to actually cover first is a really refined sheath. How we carry the knife is almost as important as the knife itself, and the TRC sheath has an exceptional level of finish and a load of really nice details. So if we look at the mouth of the sheath, so it's a Kydex sheath, what we've actually got here are a tensioner either side. So although from the factory we have a really good tension, over time that will change slightly, but also you at any point can either reduce or increase that tension on the sheath. So there's also fitted into the hollow eye rivets, we've got an elasticated cord that you can take out and use for a leg strap. A nice thing actually that this is elasticated cord, because if you ever have a leg strap attached, it's always nice for there to be a bit of flex and movement in that. So all of this is modular and can be changed around. So to make this into a left-handed sheath, you just need to undo these fixings, pop the belt hanger onto the other side and do that back up again. There's also a drainage hole near the blade tip. If I put that back in, you should see that just reflecting in the end there. And that's a look around the sheath. Let's go really close in on that. So just before we move on to details of the knife, we can see close up here how the belt loop is riveted on to this angled piece of Kydex that you can undo and pop on the other side. All of these are nicely put together with rubber spacers, so it means that there's a little bit of flex, a little bit of sort of spring washer effect, keeping everything in place. Let's look around the sheath. So then we come on to the M1 SL itself. So as I mentioned before, this is a modification. The blade shape is as per the Mille Cuori, and what that gives you is a really nice position for the thumb to get behind the working point. sharpening choil, finger guard, good section of jimping for the thumb at the top of the handle. The tang is exposed, so you can use it for striking. It's not quite the same as having the full hammer end, but this is a much lighter. And hollow rivets, flared so that they can't loosen over time. This isn't going to come apart. And then the milled grips, let's go in for a really close look. So here we are, very, very close. Let's just look over. So there's the model engraved onto the spine under the thumb position. The deep jimping at the top of the handle. So it's M390 steel that's used. You can see these beautiful flared hollow rivets. So there's no need for an extra lanyard hole. You can put a lashing cord through that rivet or that one, or both. Also a section of jimping there for a reverse grip, serial number, and then for me always the finishing touch, a sharpening choil, this lovely swedge shape, and the milled in grip pattern. Let's just look at the handling before we do the detailed measurements. So taking a look at general handling, and I take XL size gloves just for a rough idea of scale. It's a medium sized knife, and with this adjustable tension for the sheath retention, it also provides a very nice sort of thumb ramp for releasing the knife. And then this comfortable but good section of jimping at the top of the handle for this type of grip. There's jimping on the inside of the handle, so it's not really for a reverse grip type where you would have that on the back of the blade, but this is actually providing additional grip whichever way round you're holding the knife. And then, as I mentioned before, there's a very comfortable position to choke up and apply more pressure while you're cutting. So let's take a look at the detailed technical measurements. So now we're going to go through the detailed technical measurements of the TRC M1 SL. So first of all, here we have the sheath and knife together. The weight is 341.7 grams. Weight of the knife on its own is 228.8 grams. So length in the sheath is 25.5 centimeters. Going to look at the width of the sheath. So at the widest point there we have 74.3 millimeters, and the sheath thickness, so that's going to be widest here, and that is about 33.8 millimeters. It's a little bit of a estimation there because can't quite get everything lined up, but I'm going to say 35 millimeters for that. So pop the sheath aside. Now we have length of the knife, which is 24.5 centimeters. The top of the handle slopes backwards just slightly, so I will just take the top corner and measure that to the blade tip, and that is 12 centimeters blade length. Handle thickness, so there is a slight swell. In fact, it swells most at the butt, so take that measurement, 22.4, but I'll also take a center of the handle, and that's 20.5 millimeters for the thickness at the center of the handle. And then again we've got the shaping and a nice swell here, so thickness or maximum depth 31.7 millimeters. Now we're going to look at the balance point. Just about, see, that is just gently rocking, that is nicely balanced, and that measures 15.1 centimeters from the tip. Blade thickness 3.9 millimeters. The grind here, so this looks very much like a flat grind. Just use a straight edge, and yes, that's a flat grind. With this blade shaping, I'm going to ignore this section with the thumb groove and go onto the top of the spine here and look at the grind length here. Of 20.2 millimeters, and at the same point the blade is 32.1 millimeters deep. So we're going to measure the primary bevel angle. dial in on this. There we go. Let's double check. Nope. Okay, there we go. So we have, well, it's 10 degrees, and it might be exactly 10 degrees. So this is the point where I have to, can't actually show measuring the factory edge bevel angles because it doesn't show up, or does it? No. Okay, so the factory edge bevel, and for the right hand edge bevel it's 18 degrees, and it's also 18 degrees on the left hand factory edge bevel. Point angle, and we have 60 degrees point angle. Thickness behind the edge, so at the top of the cutting edge bevel, .47 millimeters, just check that I got that right. .48 millimeters. So there is just a tiny rake on this. It's not a lot, but definitely there. And that is 3 degrees rake. And now let's see how the factory edge is. So we start with the center. $154 grams. Now the heel. 138 grams. And the tip, 171 grams. It's a very, very impressive performance. So thank you for joining me and looking at the TRC M1 SL, and remember, get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.